right, good afternoon. Here we go. Gonna be starting live here any second with Take Two Interactive. Go ahead and post this that I'm live. GTA 7, GTA 9, whoa, GTA 22, what? What is going on with GameSpot's chat right now? Y'all want to watch along? The link is in the description. Okay. What's going on here? What's going on here? This.
Time for the creative space to reflect that. So here's Take Two with an important discussion on the necessity of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the corporate responsibility to honor those things.
Oh, wow.
Hello, I'm Alan Lewis, Vice President of Corporate Communications and Public Affairs for Take-Two Interactive. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to Virtual E3 2021.
And I thought my green screen was bad, my setup with my lights and everything.
I'm actively involved in numerous initiatives to enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion within our society and industry. Affecting meaningful, sustainable change is a continuous process, and there is no one solution that can achieve that goal. We believe that to enact change, especially for those in underserved and underrepresented communities, there needs to be a continuum of activism and engagement with educational programs serving as its core foundation. Beginning with children in elementary school, we have the ability to light a spark of creativity, intellectual curiosity, and wonder that can last a lifetime. Continuing through middle and high school, we can support and nurture students during their formative years and increase the depth of their skills that can provide a pathway to attending one of the 400 plus colleges and universities within the United States that offer degrees in game design. Providing opportunities to attend these academic institutions, including need-based financial support, is also a critical component to helping end generational cycles of inequality. And while pursuing their creative and technical degrees, students can learn firsthand from industry leaders that share their experience, acumen, and passion through one-on-one mentoring and internships at our organization. Together, if our industry can execute this continuum, we will have invested meaningfully in the lives of the youth from these communities for more than a decade before they begin their professional journey. Diversity and inclusion make us a better industry for today, and most importantly, for tomorrow. It allows us to make better entertainment experiences that are authentic, culturally relevant, and reflective of the audiences that enjoy them. Today, we have brought together a few of our important partners who will share their organization's mission and role in this endeavor, as well as their insights on how we as an industry can continue to take these important steps together for the future. We hope that you find their work as inspiring as we do. It is now my pleasure to turn things over to my colleague, Tony Lagans, Director of Diversity and Inclusion for 2K, who will be the moderator for today's discussion.
Thanks, Alan. It's my pleasure to be your moderator for today's session. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce my esteemed panelists today. We're going to start off with Jim Huntley. Jim Huntley is currently the professor and head of marketing at USC. Jim is a faculty advisor, and he's an executive producer for USC Games Expo and a co-founding partner of PACU Gaming. Next, we have Susanna Pollock. Susanna is the president of Games for Change, which is a nonprofit that empowers game creators and social innovators to drive real-world impact through games and immersive media. Next to Susanna, we have Gordon Bellamy. Gordon is a professor of practice of cinematographic arts at USC. He is also the head of USC Bridge Incubator, which is a program that helps to cultivate the next generation of leaders in the video game industry. And last, next to Gordon, we have Layla Shabir. Layla is the founder of Girls Make Games, which offers a series of summer camps, workshops, and game jams designed to inspire the next generation of designers,
Hey,
creators,
how's it
and
going, Kevin?
engineers.
How you doing?
Welcome to all of you, great panelists, and thank you so much for joining our important discussion today. Now, I'd like to dive right in here. And Jim, I'm going to start with you. In Alan's
I'm afraid
opening,
to
he
open this
mentioned something
chat.
that was so important, and it was really just talking about the increasing role that diversity,
Ah,
equity, and inclusion is
they,
playing in the
come
video
on,
game
guys, just a
industry
little bit of
today. So
education
before we
on
get into the big
some stuff.
concepts that
That's
we're
it.
talking
Come on,
about here, let's just break some things down for
listen,
our
let's
viewers.
listen. It's
Jim,
not
can you
often
help
we
us
get this in our
understand
video games.
and
Come on,
talk
guys.
about
Come on,
equity
guys.
and diversity and why it's
I'm
so
good.
important in the
Excellent, man.
conversation about the video game industry today?
Absolutely. Equity and diversity has been a challenge for the gaming industry since its inception. It hasn't really changed very, very much over time. But I think the biggest change that people are seeing in the last 2 to 3 years are the lack of it
You
in the
stop
modern
flipping
era
this,
and
please. I'm trying to
the
read it.
rationale that there's no excuse behind not having better equity and
Boston Fund
diversity
recently
in
announced
the
Racial Justice
industry
Endowment
from here
Fund
on out.
named after
So
legendary
what I
black
like about working with
inventor
companies like Take-Two and some
Gerald
other companies that
Lawson.
have reached out to me about an initiative we started called the Gerald A. Lawson Endowment Fund is that companies are now looking to invest in getting more diversity in their ranks and getting more stories told from different points
What's
of
up,
view.
Blackthorn? What's
I
up?
appreciate that. That's great conversation there. So let's talk about just kind of the
Oh boy.
inequities and why it's been so important to
Yeah,
have
it's
these
getting real, man.
conversations. Talk about that whole aspect and just
Getting
getting
real.
people in the right mindset to understand what's available for them as majors in this industry. Jim, just talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So a lot of what we've been focusing on from a
What the
USC
deuce?
Games
What is that
perspective
noise?
is making
Guys,
sure
please
that
turn off your
students of color,
notifications.
Black and Indigenous students in particular, because they have the least amount of representation within our industry out of all the various demographic groups. We've been focusing on scholarships, but the challenge that we have, and I think the challenge that society and the industry has, is it starts earlier than that. There's a phrase from, I can't remember who to attribute it to, but there's a phrase that he used that I remember saying, the inequities of our past pay dividends into the future. And that sticks with me because the reality is, if you don't have a great opportunity or access to computer science labs and specialized education in grade school and high school and junior high school, the odds of you having a great portfolio piece when it comes time to apply to a program like ours puts you at a deficit. And if that deficit keeps rolling on into the future, generation after generation, the gap between the ability to get into some of these slots in game design and not being able to get them gets wider and wider. So we need to do a better job as a society, and we are willing to do our part and help work with
As
companies
somebody
like
who's
Take-Two
trying to
and
get
even
into
Vanguard on how do we get
computer
students
graphic and
some
design myself,
opportunity
yeah.
from grade school. Like, how do we make
Yes.
sure they can see this as an option? Because when I, as a Black man, get in front of a small group of grade school students and I say I work in the video game industry, you can see the eyes just their minds explode because they've
I don't know
never seen anyone
why
like
would they
me
do
in the
that,
videos
man.
they see on YouTube.
There's a lot of
or other visitors
diversity
to
in
their
gaming.
classes, to their
There's
seminars. So it's important to show that we have a presence here, but it's also important to make sure that the students who look like us, who are 20 years, 30 years, 40 years behind us, also have the opportunities that we didn't in some cases to get a job in this industry.
Yes, thank you so much for your insight. So important there.
That's weird.
Susanna, that really kind of speaks to a lot of the
I-
great work that you're doing in helping
Because
to
growing
reach
up, I
this
always seen a lot of
underserved
diversity
community. Can you talk about the
in
work
press
that Games for
conferences
Change
and
is
stuff like
doing?
that, like E3,
Sure.
with different types of races.
Our mission, as you said earlier, is to empower
I've never
game
been like,
designers
oh
and
wow,
social
there's a
innovators,
Muslim
right, to
guy
use our
who
games for
directs a
social
company
change.
and makes
And we
video
see
games.
our
Like,
work
I've
with
never been
younger
that
people
way
is really
growing
inspiring
up.
the next generation, right?
I never
And
saw it
just
like
what Jim
that,
was
so I don't know
saying,
what
we are
students he's
going
going
as young,
to
we're going as young as sixth grade, sometimes fifth grade, but
and
trying
telling them
to
that, hey, I'm a black guy
give
in
young
a
people
video game
mostly
company.
in
Like,
Title,
I've
in
never
Title I
been
schools. So those are schools that
that
qualify
way.
for free lunches, which
Like, I've
often
never
are
been surprised. Like,
representative of
wow,
underserved
different
communities.
races in
An
video game
opportunity
companies.
to
It's always been
to
diversity.
dive in deeply into this gaming industry, this experience they all love to do, and help them become creators of this content, not just consumers. And we've been finding that the program that we've been running called the Games for Change Student Challenge. We've been running it for the past 6 years. We've reached over 30,000 young people in middle and high school. And we not only give them an opportunity to learn
Bonanza
how to
zero
make
6. There's
games,
no reveals
but
for Take
we
Two.
also
Oh,
combine
that's
that with
fine.
civic
All right.
engagement.
Well, I
So they
already
have to
said I
think
would
about how
do a
games can help
reaction,
make
so
their
it's fine.
communities
If I
better.
if I if
So
I'm going
right
to sit
from the
here and get
start, we
educated a
want
little
to
bit, that's
empower
fine.
them to think about this
It is
really
what it
important
is.
medium, not only as something they love to do, but they actually can make. They're learning important 21st century and STEM
That's
skills
kind of
that can help them regardless of what
because I
career
could have
path.
sworn
But what we really hope to see happen is that they see a
parent
future
company
for
of both 2K
themselves.
Games and
They
Rockstar Games
see
will
an
host a
opportunity,
presentation,
a
and with
pathway for
PS5
them.
and Xbox
And
Series
part
X
of our
slash
program, an
S
important part of
versions
it,
of Grand
is
Theft Auto
this
5
idea
on the
of
way for
mentoring
November. We
and
could hear
mentoring
more
from
about that.
near
Other
peers
franchises
and also from
from the
people from the
company
community.
include
So as Jim
BioShock,
says, it's so
Mafia,
important
XCOM,
they
and
see
2K Sports.
themselves
So you
in
can
the
kind of
people that are coming
understand
to speak
how
to them.
a
So when
lot of
we're in
people
Los
here are
Angeles, for example, we
confused
can reach out to US,
because
you know,
GameSpot
USC
said
Games
this in their description.
for game
So you
design
can see
students to
how
come
a
and
lot
speak
of
to the
people,
kids.
like
We can
myself
bring
included,
people in from
did
Riot
not
or
expect them
Activision or
to
from Take Two to come in and say,
be
yes, this is
talking
what I
about this
do,
right
and this
now.
is something for you.
We're
And we do the
expecting
same thing
video
in New
games,
York
so
and working in Atlanta and Detroit.
and the
And I can
dislike
tell you
ratio,
that students are coming
the
back
like to
year on
dislike
year, and
ratio
we're
is saying
seeing
it
them
all right now.
use this
Gonna take to
program
discuss
as like their
diversity.
college essay.
See, and now
They're
they put it
building their
here in this
portfolio.
description. They should
And
have
I
took
love the idea that,
this
you know,
and
we
put
can
it here,
we can
because
get to them
now
at a
you
young
done
age. They
confused
can spend their
everybody.
summers with Layla at Girls Make Games, and then they can go on and
All
apply
right,
to
so
college,
now
you know,
the
and
new
we're
description is
talking
tuned in to
about
Take
this
Two interactive
pipeline
panel
or
discussion.
you know, this pathway for them.
Even if I was
And so
to
that's
post
their
check the
role and what we
description,
hope
guys,
to inspire.
people would be
I
like,
love what you said there, Suzanne.
I did
There's
not
so
see that
many
coming.
little nuggets that you just pulled out
No,
there.
no, no. To
The
Take Two
different
interactive panel
the different
discussion on
avenues you
diversity,
can have and career
equity,
pathways there are
inclusion in the gaming industry with
Just
Games
the
for Change,
activities that you can have in
USC
terms of
Games,
having
Girls
mentorship
Make
and role
Games,
models and
and Gay
representation,
Gaming
and just,
Professionals
you know,
at
having good
E3
gamers out there. So there's so
2021.
many things that you
Take
talked
Two
about that I want to
Interactive
hit
is
on.
a
Let's
popular
just
gaming
pull
company that
Layla
owns
into this
2K,
conversation
Rockstar,
and
with
just
popular
talk about
franchises
the
like Grand Theft Auto, GTA,
idea of
NBA 2K.
mentorship
You
and
see that
representation. Layla, talk about the
GameSpot
workshops
messed
and the
up.
summer programs that you offer to girls. How does
This
that
is
help
something I would have
to
watched on my
increase the
own time and not
representation and the
reacted to,
mentorship
because
aspects
there's
that we
nothing
talked
to
about?
react to here.
Thanks so much for having me. I was on mute. This is 2021, still going
All
on
I
here.
all I could give is my
But like
controversial
Susanna said, I
opinion,
think it's really
but
important to kind of pass that baton
that's
on.
about
And I think
it.
we see this
I
summer
might as well
after
just
summer
sit here and be
having created
quiet
a place that's,
because I
you know,
didn't
for
want to
girls.
talk
We get
about
this
this.
question a lot. Why
But
do
it
we
is
need a
what it
space
is.
that's just for girls? There's so many
So
programs out there that
GameSpot,
can
you
go to
messed up.
everyone.
You
But I
gotta
think it's
change
just so
this.
important to create that
Cross
space
this off.
because, like Jim talked about, it's so
You
important
messed
to
up,
see people who
GameSpot.
are like yourselves. For many of the girls
You
that
should
come
have
to camp,
added this
this is their
description to your
first time
actual
walking into a room full of
GameSpot
girls
channel,
who
because
love video
everybody's
games.
looking up.
You know, they've
When you
been
type
so
in
accustomed to kind of
E3
being the only
2021
girl
schedule,
on the
GameSpot
robotics
is
team, or the
literally
only
the
girl
first
that
one
went
that
to
pops
a
up. It's like
coding camp
GameSpot
with
and
their brother.
IGN.
And
And
the
people
girl who's
come here,
fighting
they're
with her
like,
brothers
okay,
for
this is what
you know,
Take Two is going to be
the
talking
Xbox
about, video
controller.
games.
So those are
Then
very
you come to
common
the
themes and
YouTube channel,
stories, and I
and they're
think
not talking
it's
about video
important to
games.
kind
They're
of
talking
tie
about
in not
diversity,
just the mentorship, but also the community.
equity, and
It's very important
inclusion.
to walk into a room and feel like you're not an outsider.
So
And the best way to do that is to
of
show
tricked
many
us.
more faces that look just like you.
So
It's
it is what
really
it is.
validating to walk away not just with the technical skills,
Or
but to
Take
feel like
Two.
these are people
Just
that
at
are going
Capcom
to,
today.
you know,
Yeah,
head
I'll
into
be
Capcom
reacting to the
for in
Capcom
10,
stuff
15
today.
years and will be like
Take Two
professionals because
using
right now we're
important
just
issues
kids
to
making games,
distract
but we'll be
from
professionals in a
how
few
money
years.
grubbing they
And
are.
7 years out for Girls Make Games, we're finally starting
Uh,
to see, you know, these
the
girls kind of
the
make plans
Keemstar
together to go to college.
27. Oh
And
boy.
this year, I would say like the first time we got in like dozens
So do
of
we know how
emails
long
from
this is
families
supposed to
saying, you know,
be?
my daughter is now thinking of college
Because
and
we're
how do we
here.
get this portfolio going?
I'm just
How
gonna
do we
leave
set
this
that up?
chat
So I think
open.
touching on Jim's point too,
Just
there's
gonna
so
leave this
many
chat open.
challenges that, you know, people have to go through just to get everything right. You shouldn't have to rely on luck so much. So if you look at the women who are now excelling and thriving in the industry and you ask them their stories, so many things had to go right in their lives to finally end up in the industry. Many of whom ended up there accidentally, like me and even Tony. I think Tony and I touched on that earlier. But it shouldn't have to be luck or accident. We can actually intentionally create these pipelines. And I think it requires all of us working together, like everyone in this room, talking about what we're doing and how do we pass our students on from, we start as young as 8, getting them onto the programs and then passing them on to the student challenge and then on to USC and then finally on to the industry. I think that's basically the magic formula to solving the problem that we're talking about today.
Yes, thank you for hitting on that pipeline challenge and actually solution. You really clearly laid it out there for us. I really, really enjoy that. And something else you mentioned is just like really opening this world of gaming to new, diverse, um, a pool and a spectrum of gamers.
I
And
don't
how
know
do
what
we
they're talking
create
about
those
when they
real
talk about
pathways
opening it
back
up to
into the
more
gaming
diverse.
industry?
I see
Gordon,
plenty
you've
of
done a lot of
diversity in
work
video
in just
games.
helping to create value where value was not seen in places in the gaming industry, specifically for the gay gaming professionals. Can you talk about how the representation and widening the spectrum of what gaming professional looks like and how your company and your role really accomplishes that?
Sure. So we have a mission which is focused on education, employment, expertise, and entrepreneurship. And the reason why is because alongside diversity and equity inclusion, there's a new word that's come up a lot, which is belonging, right? A feeling of belonging, of being default. And I know that uh, people in their uniqueness do a lot of mental, um, socioeconomic, and sometimes social gymnastics before they get to be as good as they are, before they get a chance to participate in this panel or participate in our
And they have to
industry
jump through a lot
by
of
and
hoops.
large. And I think the
Understandable.
work that we all share is trying to disrupt some of those mental gymnastics, socioeconomic gymnastics, social gymnastics that young women, people of color, indigenous people, neurodiverse people need to do in order to be as great as they are, to belong, in the space. And sort of hearing, what Layla's speaking to of a cohort, right, that treats each other as default. And where are we going to go now together, collectively? The program, Jim's putting in place, right, with the endowment honoring Lawson, where there's going to be cohorts of Black and indigenous people, right, growing together. And the work that Susanna, you've been doing since before it was cool. Okay. You've been changing games, making that dollar out of 15 cents to before all of us.
Maybe there
work,
is still. Well, of course there is. It's like that in a lot of companies.
Right?
Right?
Is
So
enabling us to move a generation.
I don't know, man.
Specifically,
This is not what I
we have a
expected,
scholars program in
man.
partnership with Take-Two. Some go to USC.
I
many go on
did
to
not
participate in Games
expect
of
this,
Change,
man.
and many
I
have been
thought we were going to
girls
see
who made
video games.
And
It's
that's where
cool
we
that they're
find
talking
ourselves
about this,
intersecting,
but
is at that
this is not
common
something
point
that
of
is
how do we
geared
take
towards my channel
professionalization
right
and then
now.
use
I
that
don't want to
carrying
have these
into
type of
employment,
discussions on my channel.
into being experts,
I'm
right? Because
No offense. No offense. I know there's a lot of controversy in companies and still like there's racism and stuff everywhere. Everywhere you go. There was racism in my company that I used to work for, which I will not be talking about because I rather not bring up their name. It's a big company that you guys definitely heard of, and I left that job. I left that job. You guys know I put in my 2 weeks, and I found a better job, where I'm in a better position and I'm able to manage my schedule and stuff like that. But I came here for video games. I don't want to talk about this, man. This is not for me right now, man. I can't, dude. I can't. I got tricked. I got trapped. GameSpot, you fucked up. Like, you should have took the description that you put in that video and put it on your schedule. You trapped me. You trapped a bunch of us. Doesn't look like we're hearing about anything Grand Theft Auto, XCOM, BioShock, 2K games related. That's that, man. That's that. If we knew what we was jumping into, then that would have been fine. But this is not something I wanted to present here on my channel right now, man. This is the season of video games, and I know a lot of eyes are on E3, and they wanted to do this, but this is not the time right now. Not the time. I'll be back at 5:30 Eastern time for the Capcom stuff. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, debated by GameSpot. Yeah. We'll be back for Capcom. Hopefully, hopefully we'll be seeing some video games in this. If you enjoyed today's stream, hit that like button. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to delete this. I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave it up there. Maybe I'll leave it up there as my take. Get it, take two. My take on that, but this is not what we wanted right now. So 5:30 Eastern time. Be back for some Capcom. Hopefully see some. We're probably going to see new Street Fighter V gameplay. I believe they didn't announce the final character for Street Fighter V, so we're probably going to see that. We're going to see some new monsters in Monster Hunter Rise. We're probably going to see an extensive amount of Monster Hunter Stories 2 gameplay. Most definitely going to see some Resident Evil Village DLC, because, you know, when 7 came out, they eventually made the DLC afterwards. So I'm sure we're going to see some DLC for that. As far as what I want to see Mega Man Legends Remastered. That would be awesome. I would lose my shiz because, like, Mega Man Legends is pretty expensive. Tron Bonne for PlayStation is pretty expensive. If they can combine all 3 of those games, 1, 2, and Tron Bonne together, that would be awesome. So I don't have to pay outrageous prices from scalpers. Make Remastered. That would be sweet. But that's all I can expect from them. Oh, and then more Ace Attorney stuff. Did we ever get Apollo Justice? I don't know if we ever got Apollo Justice remastered. So maybe they will announce Apollo Justice for Nintendo. That would be pretty cool. And PC. But until then, I hope to see you all next time for some more actual video games. All right. Bye-bye.